Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom, amateur call sign W5KUB, and we're glad to have you with us tonight. And if you're out there listening on shortwave on WBCQ on 7490, we would love to hear from you. This show is all about ham radio, amateur radio, and we're glad to have you tonight. Drop us an email to Tom at W5KUB.com. Tom at W5KUB.com. Tell us where you are. Give us a signal strength report of the transmitter. We're transmitting out of Monticello, Maine. Not a high power transmitter. We're only running, I think, 50,000 watts, so it's fairly low compared to some shortwave stations. But anyway, it does still get out, and I've actually listened to it on some SDR receivers from time to time. We're going to be talking about SDR receivers tonight. So do me a favor, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a whole lot. I got a little arrow there that shows you where the subscribe button is. It's over in that corner there somewhere. So just look for it, hit the subscribe button. It really helps YouTube to advertise our show and get us a better ranking. We'd love to have you be a subscriber. Hit the notification button too if you would like to be notified. Sometimes during the week we have special broadcasts that come up on something, and it might be something you want to see. So hit that, and also hit that like button if you like the show tonight. We'd like to ask you or invite you to join our Facebook ham radio group. It's a great ham radio group. We've got over 12,000 hams in our group now. And it's just about everything. We talk about everything in here. We talk about the show, and it kind of follows the weekly show. But it's just in general a ham radio. Post your pictures and different things in there, whatever you want to. Ask questions. We need to do shack pictures again soon. So we'll be asking pretty soon for everybody to send in their shack pictures. And we'll try to do shack pictures again on the show here. Pretty soon. So join that Facebook group. The easy way to find it is just to go to W5KUB. Do a search for W5KUB in the little Facebook search box up there, and you can join our group, and we'll prove you just right off here. Lots going on tonight. I'm gonna give you an update on 108. If you've been following us, we were just about to cross the finish line for lap 2 around the world, and we've lost communications. It doesn't mean we've lost it. It may come back tomorrow. We're going to see what happens tomorrow before we make a decision. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, hey, later tonight, last week we talked about the potato-powered transmitter. Tonight we're going to build the potato-powered transmitter and prove if it will work or not. Now, I didn't realize it, but the magazine QST was the April issue, and I understand that they usually put one April Fool's article in. Don't know if this is the one or not, but you're going to see the results. So we're going to do that a little later in the show.
Tom,
yes.
I actually had some communication with ARRL about that this week, and I'm going to hold my answer until you show yours.
All right, you're going to hold your answer, huh? Okay.
Yep, I got the scoop directly from ARRL.
All right, well, that's good, man. I'm glad you did that. I'm anxious to hear what they said. I know what we're going to do or not do. I mean, from here, I know what's going to happen. So, okay, so it's going to be fun tonight to see if our results match your announced results. We'll see if they match up. So everybody stay tuned in the show. That's going to be fun in the second half. And in the last hour of the show tonight, we're going to just open up the Zoom lines, and we'll let everybody out there that wants to join us on Zoom come on in on Zoom, and you'll be on the show just like this. We'll leave the video up, chat room video will be up, but you can join the show on Zoom. And that part of the show, we'll just talk about anything and everything. We'll try to keep it pretty close to ham related, but we might talk about a few other things, from time to time. So that's kind of the plan tonight. Glenn, you're up first there, so you worked today. I stayed home, and let me tell the audience out there, we had a massive rain today, and we're up on that northern edge of that big storm that's hitting the south. But we got a massive amount of rain. In fact, it came down so hard, Glenn. My front porch is built up a little bit, but I saw a frog. I had a frog on the front porch area, and I saw a frog choke. The water got so deep, this frog choked out there, man.
Yeah, would not surprise me. Fortunately, when I drove to work in the morning, it hadn't really started. And by the time I left work this evening, it was almost stopped. But yeah, I've got a window seat in my office, and I just watched it come down. And yeah, it was cats, dogs, and a couple turtles too.
Well, all right. Now you're with light gas and water, right?
That's correct.
Man, could you, in one of these storms, if you would you tell them just to turn our power off out here in Carterville just for like half an hour, so I can use my new home generator? Could you have them cut it off?
I really don't have that much pull.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, I'm still the new guy on the block.
You're kind of a nobody there. Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah,
I won't ask you any more. Won't ask you any more favors out there.
Now, if I can ever reach the switch, then I'll do it.
Yeah, if you can find the switch.
Oh, they won't let me anywhere near the switch.
Yeah.
Your last day on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that the day before I retire.
All right. Yeah. Maybe the day you retire. All right, let's go. Let's check out. Let's go over to Alan up here in Jersey. Go ahead, Alan.
Joyzy. Yeah, the only people that say Joyzy are people not from Joyzy.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's okay. Good evening to you. And yeah, the rain didn't make it up here yet, but we're supposed to get it tomorrow night and then through the day Thursday into Friday morning. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we left most of the water down there and it won't rain quite as much up here. So we've certainly had enough of that this year. So, but otherwise, hanging in there, doing okay. Been a busy couple of days, busy couple of weeks at work. So, with things starting to open up again, starting to get out to the point where I'm, not only doing things virtually like I have been for the last 2 years, but then starting to plan, some visits out on the road again. So things are going to get quite busy.
Yeah. Well, maybe we won't get too much water. I think it all dumped here. The sky can't hold much more than what dumped here. So I think you guys are going to be okay right there. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see. We've got okay. Let's just go ahead and jump into our first segment here, and I'll introduce you to Robert W5IUA here. And how you doing, Robert? You're up in Springfield, Missouri, man. How you doing up here?
I'm doing great. We got rain too today.
Did you? Well, man, I didn't know the sky could hold that much water. Well, hey, it's good to have you on here tonight with us. And as you and I were talking earlier, we use some SDR receivers from time to time listening for our balloon when it gets into an area that we just don't have good coverage to hear. But you've got a little deal you've been working on here to help people to, I guess, more effectively use SDRs, right? And I'm just going to turn it over to you. And why don't you just tell us all about the idea here and what this thing does?
Oh, sure. Well, I created a system called hams.live. That's the website, hams.live. It's a little tricky because people don't think of .live as a domain name, but it is. Anyway, I'm going to put a slide up here, if I can, that shows a little bit of what the system does. I can find it.
There it came up.
So there's three elements to the system. The first is the SDRs themselves on the right. You see the, hopefully you can see that slide.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of them around the world, and people have graciously deployed these SDR receivers. I'm going to call them SDR sources, and you'll see why in a little bit here. out on the internet, and they have public addresses, and you can get to them with a web browser. And people, hams in particular, have been using these extensively for various purposes to help the receive capabilities beyond their own station receiver. The addresses of these are available again with the browser, but sometimes to use these SDR sources, it gets complicated, especially if you use more than one of them. So we created this hams.live system, which is in the middle here. We put all those links for those SDRs under a common domain and on the internet, and then we created links in the system that we could manipulate easily with options, in particular the frequency, the mode, and the waterfall level of the settings, and you can communicate that back to the SDRs over the internet. So then we needed a client to manage this that works like a web browser, but has some additional features. And so we chose OBS Studio. That's over here on the left, the client that runs on your computer. So what we're going to do tonight is a demonstration of the system and how it works. And what it'll allow you to do is a number of things, which I think you'll see will be beneficial. So let me get this stopped, and we'll go into the demonstration. OBS Studio is a program that if you'd asked me a couple of years ago what is OBS Studio, I wouldn't have known. So many hams may not be familiar with OBS Studio, but OBS Studio is a open source program that's used for audio and video streaming. It's available in over 50 countries and over 50 languages, and it's available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And so let's see if I can share my OBS Studio screen. If I say OBS in this presentation, I'm talking about OBS Studio. It's a little bit of a shortcut. So here we go. Okay, I should be sharing the screen. Is that coming through?
Yeah, yep, it is.
Okay, great. So this is OBS Studio, and this is called the canvas. This large black area is where the information comes up. OBS has embedded browsers, so it works like a web browser, but it's got a lot of additional functionality. So what we've done is we've created scenes that have lists of SDRs. The one you're looking at right now is the Southeast United States. In the sources box here, you have a list of the SDRs, the sources, and they are organized by grid square, and they should also show the state or province. Up here you have the audio mixer, which is going to allow you to control the audio. You'll see that in a moment. And right here you have the control panel. The control panel comes up after you log into hams.live, and it allows you to enter the frequency and mode and waterfall level of the of interest. So I'm looking at on my radio here at 20 meters, and I'm seeing signal maybe about 253, 14,253. So if I put in 14,253 into this box, and I choose upper sideband, and I can choose a waterfall level, zoom level, and I hit this adjust button. After I hit that adjust button, what just happened was that all the links in the system that I'm using immediately have been updated to that frequency and mode and waterfall zoom level. So if I want to use a particular SDR, I can choose one from this list. The ones on the dark here are the ones in the southeast United States, the area I've chosen. And then the others are other SDRs that are nearby, and I've got those in each of the scenes to allow you to pick some diverse locations. But I'm going to choose one here in Maryland, and when I click this button, two things are going to happen. One thing is the SDR is going to come up on the left, and on the right you'll see the audio mixer activate. So I've clicked the button, and now we have the Westminster, Maryland SDR running on 14.253 upper sideband. If you want to listen to it, you can come over here to the mixer, and it's muted right now, but if I unmute it, you can hear the audio from it. Let's see, I picked 253. Looks like there's a station at 250. $250, 264. You can see there's a station at 264. So if I go over here and pick 14.264 and hit the adjust button, now it's going to refresh the SDR, and it'll be on 264. Now we're hearing the audio. Hopefully you can hear that. So this is the first iteration of hams.live, is being able to select an SDR from the hundreds available and manifest it inside OBS Studio. But the thing that's really got people's interest, I think, is what I'm going to show you next. And that is, we've created a scene that uses multiple SDRs at once. So I'm going to turn off the Maryland SDR here, and I'm going to go down and switch to a scene called multiple. So now you see that the screen is divided into 4 different regions, color-coded. And I've got groups of SDRs that are also color-coded available. And another thing that this scene adds is my audio from my transceiver. I actually use 2 radios. I use a receiver and a transmitter, and my receiver is a Ten-Tec Orion. And so if it's connected to the mixer here, and I can listen to my own rig audio just by unmuting that. Of course, there's let me get.
Northern California, they just disappeared. A lot of them.
So the station on 250, that was 250. Let me make sure I got the same frequency here. Okay, 264. Of course, he's not transmitting right now. Anyway, that's my rig audio. And up here, you can see that there are groups. And I have 4 SDRs activated, one in California, one in Utah, one in Alberta, and one in Maryland. And by just clicking this button, it will launch all 4 SDRs simultaneously. And you see the audio for those available here. So I can listen to the radio. You can see this in the purple region. The Alberta SDR has a signal of S8 for the station. If I unmute it, I switched over to the Utah now. Now I'm switching to the Maryland. Of course, he stopped talking. So you can use this for a number of purposes. You can test your own transmitter by transmitting on a clear frequency and see where your signal is reaching. You can actually get a much better idea if the frequency is in use by looking at 4 at once across the continent. It's a very useful system. And then if one of these SDRs is busy, you can just choose another one, and you can choose them from different groups. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the Maryland SDR in the blue. And now I can come down here to one of the other blue, and I can activate this one in New York. Make sure that group is activated, and now the New York one will come up in the blue. So this is the multiple SDR scene with also it's got my rig audio added in there as well. There's a lot of other features that OBS will bring to the table. One of the interesting things is audio filtering, and that's built into the system. So if I go to this green SDR, the one in the upper right over here, and I select that in the sources, there's a button down here called filters. And if I click filters, I can choose different levels of audio filtering for the signal. I guess I should turn it on.
Well, that's pretty good, yeah.
It might be hard for you to hear that. We've got the audio acoustically coupled to the mic here, but it works pretty well. I'm going to stop the demo here. And I guess, were you able to hear that, guys?
Yeah, we were able to hear it pretty well. Now I saw four boxes there. Are you limited to 4 SDRs plus maybe a local channel, or?
Well, I could do more than 4, but you would have to remap the. If you wanted to see everything at once, you'd have to remap the screen.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing is, my computer's a middle of the road computer. I'm running an i5 computer, not the fastest one, but not the slowest one.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a pretty good video card in it, the GPU. So these take some resources, computer resources. So the more you run, the more resources you use up. So it would depend on your computer system.
Okay. Now there was a question in the chat room about how much bandwidth does 4 take. I guess audio. I guess there's not a lot of bandwidth that each one takes, right?
I don't. I think there's some statistics that you can look at. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I probably should do some testing to see. I don't think it takes up a lot of bandwidth.
Now, what about changing the frequency? Can you click on the band scope or anything, or do you have to change it over on your screen?
Well, the system is set up so that when I put a frequency or mode or waterfall level in, it changes it for everything in the system.
Yeah. You wouldn't want different ones playing different frequencies.
You can, to a limited extent, interact directly like you would with a web browser. So if I pick this Half Moon Bay, California one up here, and I highlight it, I can go down here and there's an interact button. Now I'm directly interacting with the SDR, and I can move this just like I could in a web browser and change the frequency of that one if I wanted to.
Yeah. So one of the things you talked about was the ease of using multiple SDRs, and I think that's what you're trying to talk about here. I know these SDRs are a little they're not tricky, but you got to do a little work to get it on frequency and whatever. But to manage 4 of them, that would be a big deal. So your program, your server system, it combines these things and gives you kind of a diversity where you can have multiple running at the same time. And I guess you could turn one up or down and listen to whichever one's best, right?
That's right. And the other thing that's happening behind the scenes here is the URL parameters that I'm sending to the SDRs include options for each SDR that kind of optimize the way it looks and the way that the settings are. So you don't have to fiddle with any of that. When you use an SDR, you don't know who's used it before or what settings it has or whatever. So this kind of makes it a little bit cleaner.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I noted that on the modes that you have, just the AM and then upper and lower side, are you planning on adding some of the other modes that the SDR, the web SDR support, CW and such?
That would be easy to do. I had some programming help early on in the process and got this created, and I've had a lot of trouble finding some programming help for one reason or another. They got busy or life changed, whatever, and they weren't able to help me. And so actually I'm interested in finding some folks that would be able to work with me, like someone that knows JavaScript that would be able to do some small programming changes. And what you're talking about would be very simple to do. Just a matter of just changing the code in that file to accommodate CW, for example, or some of the other modes, yes.
Okay.
And the other thing that I'll say is most all the SDRs in my system that I'm using for this are the Kiwi SDRs. There's different types of SDRs, and the reason that we're using the Kiwis primarily is the Kiwis give you full coverage in HF. You can go from broadcast band all the way up through 10 meters continuously. And some of the other SDRs, like the web SDRs, a lot of them don't have that feature. So for simplicity's sake, I wanted people to be able to put in any frequency, ham or shortwave that they wanted to in the HF spectrum and have that work.
So, Robert, what you're doing here is basically you're splitting your transmitter and receiver, kind of like back in the old days when I started ham radio. We had a transmitter and a receiver. We only had one receiver though, and but what you're doing here, and I know the way you were operating there, and I looked at your QRZ page. You're using your 7300, your IC 7300, just for the transmitter, and you're using a different receiver, and you're using the SDRs, and so you're able to have a conversation with somebody by using the SDRs. You're actually able to hear them where you could not hear them on your own radio on your antenna. Now they would need to do the same thing on their end to use an SDR receiver to hear you. For instance, if you're on 20 meters, and let's say you're 17 miles apart, we probably couldn't communicate with each other just on 20 meters. But by splitting the receiver and a transmitter, you'd be able to talk to somebody that distance. So I guess that's one of the advantages.
Absolutely. I think it's worth saying that obviously this system is not intended for contesting, for DXing, for contacts. It's not. We're not trying to cheat the system, and don't think that people should do that. That's not what it is at all. There's a lot of other uses in ham radio. I'm on a group that meets a roundtable every day on 17 meters, and there's some close-in stations that I can't hear otherwise without SDRs. So it's just to help people in those scenarios like they have compromised antennas or maybe RFI problems. There's different scenarios that we're in, and diverse receivers, I should say, is a value.
Yeah, I could see, like, if you're listening to a net, like the Maritime Mobile Service net or something like that, and you can't hear net control or you can't hear the other stations. If you tune into a couple of different SDRs in different locations around the country, you'd probably be able to hear all the traffic on the net, even if you can't hear them locally.
Right. So the other thing I want to say is that my system is a subscription system. It's $20 a year to subscribe, and that just helps me cover the cost of this. And it's taken a lot of time and effort and money to get this up, and I'm just trying to recover some of those costs. So anyway, there's a 14-day free trial if you want to try the system, and all you have to do to make it work is to register and then download OBS, and then there's one plug-in you need. It's called the WebSockets plug-in to make the communications work. And you install those on your system. You import the scene collection file that has all the SDRs, and then it just log in and it works.
Now, you said that there's a couple of hundred. Is this basically the same list? Like if you go to kiwisdr.com, there's a list of 600 or 700 or so stations there. Is that essentially the same station list that you're kind of putting together in this app?
That list is a little bit bigger. I've gone through and taken some time. There's some SDRs out there that aren't very good. They got bad noise, or they've got antennas that aren't very good, or various reasons why, for whatever reason, they just don't work very good. And so I've tried not to include those in the system. But there's over 500. I think there's 540 Kiwis in the system right now.
Okay, yeah, I like how you kind of have them organized, because like if you go to Kiwi SDR or like the webstr.org, it's tough to kind of find one in a particular area. You got to do a bunch of searching. It sounds like by having it done with the grid square, it's pretty easy to try to find something in a particular location.
That was part of the method of my madness, yes, sir. And part of the value add of the system is trying to organize them and make it easier for people to use. Yes.
All right. Well, Robert, it's been interesting. I can see there's a neat advantage to using this. It helps you find the SDRs that you need, and makes it easy. Your website is just what? hams.live, right? If people are interested and want to see more information, they can go to hams.live and read all about it and even try it out, right?
That's right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about it?
Nope. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and thanks very much, Tom.
All right. Well, hey, you're welcome to stick around with us the rest of the show and participate with us in whatever we do here. It may get to be fun after a while. Who knows? All right. Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And hey, if I guess you have an email address or something, if people need to get in touch with you, can they find? Well, they can look you up on QRZ, right? And this is Robert, and W5IUA.
Yeah. I think the best address to use for that is admin@hams.live.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, maybe you'll get some inquiries there. All right. Well, that was interesting to see I guess that's kind of an enhancement on how to make things a little easier to use the SDR out there. I've used the SDRs out there, for our tracking our balloon, and like Alan says, man, some of them are tough. I mean, I have to dig and dig and dig to try to find one, and I want one in this region, and it takes me forever to find one. So this might be very helpful for people to find the SDRs that they want to use there.
And being able to kind of select, like I said, being able to select more than one.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes if you're trying to find which ones are going to be best for if you're trying to listen to everybody on a net or something like that, being able to have 4 at a time, then maybe this one here will help you hear that station, but this one's going to help you hear the other station, that type of thing. Most of the time when I'm using a web SDR, it's when I'm traveling. I'm traveling for work. I'm stuck in a hotel room and I can't really play radio, but I want to tune around and listen. That's when I'll fire up the web SDR, on the computer in the hotel room. And this sounds kind of an interesting way of trying to see where there's some activity, in a more efficient way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep following this and see how it evolves over time. But it sounds like it could be a good deal there. All right. Let me give you guys an update real quick. I know many of you have been following W5KUB-108. It's our attempt to go around the world. Well, we were doing really good. We went around the world once, and we were almost about to complete the second revolution around the world, but we didn't hear from the balloon today. Now, I don't know. We don't know exactly what that means yet. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Make you a little bit better picture here. So you can see we were just about to come across. We're going to go across southern Mexico, but we're going to hit the finish line probably tomorrow for our second lap. Now, the last 2 days, we've had some really bad communications out in the Pacific. There are some areas in the Pacific where we've had terrible communications before. So we don't know what's going on. I know there were some big solar flares, and NASA put out some things, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. I'm not sure that really affected this, so we don't know. Now, today in the last 2 days, we heard good. We got good reports in the morning for 2 or 3 hours, and we got good reports in the afternoon for 2 or 3 hours. Nothing in the middle of the day. Now, today we did not receive a single transmission. So a couple things may be here in play here. We won't know until tomorrow. But if our processor was stuck or hung up tonight, overnight, as the sun goes down, the processor will reset and maybe it will come alive tomorrow. The next option is, and I might be hoping for this as our best option. The next best option is half of our antenna fell off. We've got a 34-foot dipole on this balloon, and it's made out of number 36 wire, about the size of a hair on your head, and it hangs below the tracker. And this thing has been in 150 mile an hour wind at minus 40 degrees Celsius, and it's been flying around up here for 22 days now. So maybe we'll be lucky, and maybe half the antenna broke off and fell off. Now, why would that be lucky? Well, I think with Whisper we would still be hearing it, especially when we got over populated areas, like when we get close into the U.S. I think we would still hear Whisper. Or if we were over Europe or China, I think we would still hear Whisper transmissions on it. So I'm hoping either it's going to reset tomorrow or half the antenna broke off. I'm hoping. I don't think I can hope for not sunspots, but some kind of storm or something. I don't know. Although the communications was not very good in that area of the world. Let's see if I got a picture here. Show you the area I'm talking about. We were. Another thing we're facing right here, and I'll show you. Another thing we're facing is this. This new experimental balloon was doing great. It was flying at 45,000 feet. And that is good because storms will take it down. And most people fly these little small balloons that won't get up to about 25,000, 24,000, and they usually come down with storms. But look at this. This is about our approximate position today. And look at this. We had clouds. We had some storms, and we had clouds as high as 45,200 feet high. And man, that was getting very close to the area where we are flying. So it's very possible a storm could have taken us down. We don't know. Again, tomorrow will be a deciding day on if we're still up or if we came down. See if I got another shot here. If you look at Whisper here, I'll draw a circle where we are. There's just not anything going on out there in that circle. These are Whisper transmissions and reports during the day, but there's nothing down here. Now, there's not much going on down there, but I would at least thought that Mexico and the upper part of South America would have had people, on Whisper. But that was a 4-hour period today on Whisper, and there's nothing there, guys. So, is it a black hole? What is it? We don't know. So that's a possibility. I don't know. Don't know. And let's see. So that's going to be our update on W5KUB-108. We got our fingers crossed. We're just hoping tomorrow morning. I think if it's going to come alive by 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning Central Time, if it starts reporting, then we're okay. And we'll jump up and down and yell and smile real big that we thought we lost it, but it came back.
Well, the ants may have just jumped off and taken another side trip to Hawaii.
Well, if people were following it on Facebook, one of the predictions a couple of days ago was it was going to turn north and go way up to the North Pole. And we told the ants, under all circumstances, avoid that route. And the next thing I saw the next day, we were dipping down below the equator and back up to cross the bottom of Mexico. So that may have been a bad choice to come down there, particularly with those storms there. So we just don't know, and don't know. But tomorrow we may start building up W5KB 110 and get it in the air pretty quick if this one is confirmed down. We just don't know. All right.
We're gonna have to have an intervention for you, Tom.
Yeah. Well, you might have to.
At least these are cheaper balloons.
Well, these are cheaper. In fact, hey, let me tell you, I was able to contact the Yokohama company in Japan today. Now, they're difficult to talk to, especially if you get in a chat room and stuff, and they don't understand what you're saying, and you don't understand what you're saying. But I finally found this particular balloon on their website to place an order. But when I tried to place an order, and you could only buy 10 at a time, but when I tried to place the order, it was Japan only. It wouldn't take anything but Japan. So I sent them an email, and they said, "So sorry." They said, "We fixed it. You can order now." So I went back to their website, and they sure fixed it. So I ordered 10 of the super duper Yamaha 32-inch secret experimental balloons. So I don't know how long it's going to take. It was $100 in shipping. $100 in shipping. But 10 balloons were like 10 balloons were $120. Yeah, 10 balloons were $120. So that and 100, that's $220. That makes them about $22 a piece, which is still, a pretty good deal. And if I ever go to an intervention, and if I can ever get broken of this terrible thing, I'll be glad to pass these balloons on to someone else so they can get addicted. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Not me. I'm addicted to kits right now.
All right. All right, guys. Hey, we'll be right back in just a moment. And hey, we're going to be talking in a minute. We're going to build the potato transmitter, and Glenn knows the answer from ARL, whether it was an April's Fools or not. But we're going to have some results here. We want to see if our results match what they think. Who knows? We might be the same. We might be different. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Now is the time to spice up your ham shack with ICOM's new ID52A handheld. This radio is perfect for staying in or venturing out. The ID52A is now shipping. ICOM's newest handheld amateur radio is a VHF-UHF dual bander with D-Star and FM dual mode functions. This radio supports conventional FM communications and D-Star simplex and worldwide calls over the D-Star Internet Gateway. The ID52A is the first handheld amateur radio with a full-color 2.3-inch waterfall display and the ability to send photos over D-Star with a connected Android phone. Features include a wideband receiver with guaranteed range of 144 through 148 and 440 through 450 megahertz. It has an integrated GPS receiver, including grid square location. It also has a micro USB for data transfer, programming, and charging, and it's IPX7 waterproof. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, and we are back. And let me remind everybody, please, we need your help here, man. Hit that subscribe button. That's over here. Hit that subscribe button, please, please. Hit it. It helps us out a whole lot. I think my arrow's aimed at the right place there. That helps us to advertise, or it helps YouTube to advertise our show to other people that are surfing the YouTube community, and it does bring a lot of new people into the show. Click the subscribe button, click the like button, click the notify button, because sometimes we come up live during the week and you might want to see something special we have. I want to take this opportunity real quick. Welcome everybody that's out there listening on international shortwave on WBCQ on 7490 kilohertz out of Monticello, Maine. We'd love to hear from you. This show is all about ham radio, amateur radio, and you can watch us on W5KUB.com any Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But send us an email to tom@W5KUB.com, and would love to hear from you. Now, we're going to get into real quick here. We're going to get into the potato. We're going to build this potato transmitter. Now, Glenn knows the answer. He contacted ARL, and the ARL told him whether or not this was a real project or an April Fool's project. But we're not going to ask Glenn that yet. Glenn, you do know the answer, right?
Yes, I do know the answer. Got it straight from Becky Schoenfeld,
right,
their publications manager.
Do you think they really know the right answer?
Yes, we had a very nice discussion about it.
All right. Okay. So let me get moving on this, and what we're going to do, we're going to talk about, and we're going to actually build the potato transmitter here, and then we're going to see how it matches up with what the ARL thinks. So here we go. If I can figure out how to do this. Yeah, I can do it here. Here we go. Hey, okay, you guys know on our show, we like to try wild and crazy things. If you remember, we did a tree for an antenna at one time, a few months ago. where we actually loaded up a tree and compared it to a regular antenna. We actually had pretty good results using the tree as antenna. This week on the show, we were talking about a potato-powered transmitter. I brought it up on the show, and some of our co-hosts didn't think it was possible, or they didn't think it was going to work. Now, I think it'll work, but we're going to try to prove it here in a minute. But there was an article this month in QST Magazine in the April issue. Now, in the April issue, there's an article here called Potato Powered Transceiver. And you can see down here the diagram, you can see the potato. Now, he had to use multiple potatoes in series to get enough voltage and current to power this, but we're going to try it. I don't know if it'll work. I think it'll work. I think if I have enough potatoes, it'll work. I may not have enough potatoes here today. So what we're going to do, we've got a little oscillator just like he used. He used one in a 20 meter band. I have a little oscillator here, a similar oscillator, but this is on 27 megahertz. And this is a little oscillator that I use in the trackers that we build, the little trackers that we use for balloons. But there it is. That's the actual transmitter right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this down here if I can. The white wire is my ground. This thing is so small. I had to actually solder the wires on it under a microscope. And then we'll do this. But there's the transmitter right there. And what we have here, this is the antenna. This is the power. And this is the ground. All right. And we're just going to run the power through a J30, what is this, J39, J38 Morse code key. So let's get a benchmark on where this little oscillator works. So here we go. We're going to hook up some power to it. So I'm going to hook up from my bench power supply up there. I'm just going to hook up this so we can get a rough idea of what kind of voltage it works. All right, so right now I have we have a lot of wires here in a minute. So right now I have the power supply, lab power supply going through the key to the transmitter. Let's see if we can measure the voltage there, because I'd like to know what the voltage is going to actually be when this thing works. So I'm just going to put that in there, and I'm going to put the positive on the key. So right now the power supply is set at 1.7 volts. All right, now let's listen on a ham receiver and see if we can hear this thing. So I'm going to take, if you remember on one of our shows we did a remote base. And so I'm going to turn my remote base on. This is on my Droid tablet. Using the Wemo, that's this little wireless device here. It's going to turn the ham radio on. So I'm going to hit it and get that right there in this. Okay, I'm going to hit the on. And there you go. It turned on the ham radio. And now we're going to go to the app itself. Here's our app. All right, it sent the encryption key, and we're connected now. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my little transmitter is on 27 megahertz. So you can see our remote base, our ham radio remote base, right now is on 27 megahertz, and you can see we're going to tune it up here. You can see the radio there is following the remote base here. All right, let's see if we can hear something here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to press the key down over here. I think I hear it. Okay, when I press the key, we actually have a signal. This little transmitter is actually transmitting to my remote base now. So we got a signal, and it looks like we're running about 1.7 volts here. I measured the current earlier, and it's just a little over 1 milliamp. Okay, so let's see if we can change the voltage a little bit and see if it come down. Looks like it needs that. Now, if you look at the spectrum analyzer over here, you can see the power we're actually running. I'm going to key down, and you'll see the power here. Well, no, you won't. You know why? Because look, the spectrum analyzer is not hooked up. So let me hook up the input to the spectrum analyzer. All right, there we go. All right, I'm keying it, and you can see on the spectrum analyzer here, we're running, I don't know. Earlier I was looking at it a little closer, and it was running about a -3 dBm. Okay, so -3 dBm, that is about 1/2 milliwatt. 1/2 milliwatt. Okay, next we're going to try to power it with potatoes. To get that 1 milliwatt or a milliamp, we're going to have to parallel some potatoes. So we need about 1.7 volts, and we're going to need a little over 1 milliamp. So let's do this. I'm going to turn this power off. That'll make things a little quieter. So I've got some potatoes here. All right, let's do this. So I've cut some copper strips for the anode, and I've got some zinc nails we're going to use for the cathodes. So here we go. I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to see what I can do here. So let's just do this. Let's get our copper strips in. All right, let's get our nails in. All right, let's see if we can measure that. See what kind of, if we got a voltage there. We may have a voltage. Who knows? We need about 1.7 volts. All right, so we've got the old fluke out here. All right, here we go. Well, it seems a little low there. I don't know why. Let me get that nail in here and make a good connection. There we go. We've got about 9/10. Well, I can't get a good connection, but right there you can see 8.89. That's 9/10 of a volt right there. So we got 9/10 of a volt coming out out that potato. Let's go ahead and get another one together, and let's see what we can do here. We get our anode connector in there. We get our cathode in there. Okay. Do another one. You gotta be careful with this copper. You could cut yourself, so if you do this at home, be very careful with this copper. It's kind of sharp. Okay, so we had about 9/10 of a volt on the on that first potato. Let's do this. let's we're going to parallel these to try to get a little bit extra current out of it. We're going to do a parallel series. So what we're going to do is we're going to parallel these two with this, and then we're going to parallel these two. And then we're going to parallel these two. I don't want to get electrocuted here, so be very careful when you do this. All right, now we're going to put them in series. So this is our cathode here, so that's going to be our minus. I'll put a black one on this one, if I can get it clipped on there. That's going to be our minus lead right there, and we're going to hook the anode to the cathode, the second set. We're going to do the same thing with between the second and third. We're going to hook the anode to the cathode. All right, and then we're going to come off the anode here. All right. Now, look at that. We've got 3 in series, but we've also paralleled them. So we got a, 3x2. Let's see what kind of voltage we're getting there. Wow, we're getting 2.7 volts. That sounds fairly good. I wonder if that'll light an LED. I don't know if that'll light an LED up or not. Let's see if it will. Let's see if it will. Yes, I see it. I see. It's dim, but I think it's coming on. Let's do this. Let me turn the light off. Let's try it with the light off. Just to see if we're seeing it. I'm a little worried here. I'm a little worried. Oh, yeah. You can probably see it in the camera. Let me hold it this way. You see it coming on, going off? Let's see. Can you see that in the camera? Yeah. You can see the LEDs actually turning on and off. There we go. All right, well, all right, we're getting some voltage out, okay. All right, lights, please. Okay, all right, so let's hook our batteries up to our transmitter here and see if we can hear it over there. So I've got enough clip leads here to do this. This is going to be our plus. And our plus went to, plus goes right here. Plus went to here. Make sure I'm not shorted. And then our minus here goes to our minus over here. Yeah, I think I hear it. I heard it. It was very weak. I'm trying to get my voltmeter hooked back up here. All right, so you can see on the batteries we're running 2.5 volts here, 2.6. When I key down, it drops to about 0.8 or 0.9 volts. That's just, it's just under the threshold where to work. Now, I need more current, so if I had three more potatoes in here parallel, I might have the current. I'm gonna try something real crazy. Let me get something. Be right back. All right. This is going to be a wild and crazy idea. Hey, here's a super capacitor that we use on the trackers. I'm going to see if I can run out of patch cords here. I'm going to see if I can get a super capacitor across this. If I can figure out where. Okay, I can get it right here. This is my minus. So I'm going to put the super capacitor across here. It's really dragging down. It's dragging down. If you watch the meter here, you'll see the voltage will increase 0.043. Come on, 0.044. So the potatoes are charging the supercapacitor, but it's really slow there. I think once the supercapacitor charges with the potatoes, it might hold it enough that we can actually get some transmit power out of this thing. But we're coming up so slowly here. So we'll let that set a minute, and let's just see what happens, and we'll come back in just a couple minutes and see if that super cap charges with the potatoes, and we'll see if we can make a transmission with it. Okay, so we've given it just a few minutes to see if our little super cap would charge up. It has to actually charged up. I'm seeing 2.4 volts here. I'm going to turn this noise maker off over here. I'm going to turn off the spectrum analyzers. And maybe get a little quieter in here. So let's see what our results are here. Here's our potato power supply. We had to put a super cap on it, but that's okay. That's not a battery or anything. 2.4 volts. All right, here's the real test. Remote base. Here's our transmitter. Listen to this. Oh yeah, it got a little delay on the internet, that's what it is. Okay, let me send it again. So I'm sending to the remote base, but it's coming back to me here over the internet, and there's probably a quarter-second delay. Let's see if we can hear it on the receiver itself. It's going to be real time there. All right, so hey, it does work. The potato powered power supply is working. Let's see how, I'm going to do a key down, and let's look at the voltage here, and let's see how fast it goes down with the super cap. So here we go. So you can see the super cap's doing a pretty good job keeping it up, but it is going down fairly fast. So once it gets below about 1.7, it will stop working. So, hey, it does work. A potato-powered transmitter does work. So, there you go. All right, hey guys, there's the results. We could transmit with a potato. Now, I don't know if this was a April Fool's article or not. Glenn knows, he's been talking to the ARL. Glenn, was this a real project or not a project?
I will give you the direct quote from Becky Schoenfeld, their publications manager. Yes, indeed. The project really does work, and they had a million other cool photos that they couldn't use, but they chose to frame it as an April Fool's piece. But it is actually a working product and a working article.
All right, well that is cool. So they framed it as an April Fool's, but it was a real one.
That's correct. So
Oh, man.
they fooled you that way.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, it worked. You know, and I'm thinking, I need to build up a little receiver, a little one transistor receiver over there, you know, and maybe we power the receiver with the potatoes or, you know, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, hey, it was fun building it, and it gave us something to do. So I don't know. I don't know how people liked it watching, but it was interesting, I think.
You know, rather than solar cells, why don't you just make your next balloon potato powered and give it some extra helium and stuff?
Well, you know, I thought about that, and but the potato would weigh so much.
Yeah. But now here's a thought. You were using half potatoes.
Yeah.
Could you just slice the potatoes to maybe, you know, a half-inch thick and get the same battery voltage out of that and use the super cap?
I don't know. That would have taken a lot of potatoes to experiment and you know, a lot of time. You know, we would have probably, you know, you noticed our anode was a copper strip I cut. It was pretty
Right.
wide. The nail was pretty small. It didn't have much surface area on it. I think if we'd had a zinc strip, we would have got you know, more current out of this thing. So now the article said that a cooked potato gave out a lot more current than an uncooked. These were uncooked potatoes, so I don't know. We didn't go to the trouble to test that part.
What about with the lemon?
Didn't go that route either there. And yeah, we could have used pennies and zinc washers, but we just used what we had here. I had a sheet of copper, and I had plenty of the zinc nails, so you know, that worked all right. You know, I don't know if a big potato would put out more voltage or current than a small potato. I don't know, but you know, and I'm thinking, you know, it took, with the few potatoes we had, it actually took that super cap to charge up to get us enough voltage and current there to actually operate. We could have probably operated for maybe 1 minute, and that super cap would have dropped so low that we'd have had to probably pause for another minute or two until the potatoes charged it back up. But you know, it kind of balanced things out. It kind of worked there, you know.
How long did it take to charge up the potato?
Oh, it probably took about, I'm guessing probably 20 or 30 minutes, man. It took a long time, man.
That's still
Yeah.
cool. I would
Yeah.
have bet you that there was no way that was a real article.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post the Zoom link in the chat room, and if anybody wants to join us on Zoom, here's the link. Please connect on that link and join the show, and you'll be on. You don't have to have video if you don't want. Just join our Zoom call and be in here with us. We'd love to have you. Again, you're watching and listening to Amateur Radio Roundtable, a show about ham radio, and we appreciate all of our shortwave listeners out there on 7490. And tune in and watch the show live on W5KUB.com on the internet, if you have internet out there.
You say you were going to have Riley Hollingsworth?
Riley was supposed to be here tonight, but we got mixed up on dates. He thought it was next week that he was going to start. So he'll be with us next week. And, I think Riley's going to possibly just be a regular on here, just to fill in and help us, kind of co-host some of the segments. I'm not sure how much he'll be able to talk about the ARRL volunteer program. I'm sure that he will discuss it from time to time. Oh, okay, we've got a few people calling in here. Oh, there's Charlie. Let me get Charlie in here. There's Charlie. Charlie down in Uruguay is in there.
Yeah, by the way, you've got an echo on the local link.
I got an echo. I've got an echo.
I think you got rid of it now. It was
Is the echo there now?
No, it was on the internal.
Is the echo there now? It is.
Yes.
Okay. I know why. Yeah. I hope that wasn't too much there.
Nah, not bad.
All right.
But yeah, I was suitably impressed that the potato worked. When you posted the link of that video you did the other day, I sent that up to ARRL, and that was the response I got back from Becky.
Oh, okay. So they knew we were gonna try it out, right?
Yep, they knew we tried it.
All right. Well, that's good, man. Hey, Charlie down in Uruguay. Hello, Charlie. How you doing tonight?
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm doing
Very
fine.
funny about the potato-powered transmitter. How far did it transmit? You never know.
How far? I only went about 4 feet.
Okay.
I didn't try to go. The only little transmitter oscillator I had was the 27 megahertz. So we kept the antenna short within the FCC rules, and the power was like less than a half a milliwatt. The antenna was probably 6 inches long, so I think we were safe from being prosecuted.
No, well, that's not the problem. I think that maybe the LED would have be much brighter if you put a series resistor, so that it didn't drag the voltage.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I did not think about it, but if a little series resistor would limit the current, and we wouldn't have quite as much voltage drop. So
We've also tried it after you had the super cap in place.
well, with the super cap on there, it would have lit it up fine. I mean, it would have done fine. One thing I did not do, I forgot to do. I should have measured the power on the spectrum analyzer running on potatoes, and I failed to do that. So I don't know. It was pretty low power. Don says, see if I can modulate it and say breaker 19. When I turned the remote base on, I tuned into 27 megahertz. And man, I never heard so much talking in all my life up there, man. I mean, that band is jumping, man. Oh, it made me want to get a CB radio. Oh man.
Actually, those are sort of making a comeback now.
Yeah.
I forget. I think Gigaparts is actually now stocking.
Yeah, they are. I
CB.
saw that. I saw Gigaparts is selling on there. Guys, there's the link again if you want to join us. And let's see who we got here. We got Howard Bullard. Don't know if I know Harold or not.
Yeah, he's with the Corinth Ham Fest.
He's what? Oh, yeah.
The April Fool's Ham Fest.
Oh, yeah. That's a good ham fest. I wish we could have gone down there this year, but this couldn't make it.
It's in a week and a half.
Oh, it is? It's coming up?
Coming up.
Oh, I thought.
It's on April 2nd.
Yeah, might go down here. Might go down.
I'm going to be doing an Arduino forum there.
Yeah. Not that far down here, but maybe, an hour and a half drive or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
right
know.
at an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's not very far. I might go down here to to the Hamfest down at Corinth. You're going to have to remind me, though. I'll forget.
Yeah, I'm going to
So-
have a table or two down there selling the last little tidbits of stuff. I'm just about ready to do a complete shack refill.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you, man. Hey, time is flying, man. I tell you, Dayton's going to be here
No
before we know it.
kidding.
The Dayton Hamvention at Xenia, Ohio. It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, I mean, it's less than 2 months away now, and time is flying.
Yeah. Well, guys, let me tell you a little about Dayton this year. Again, we've got our booth there. We've only got one booth. They cut us back to one booth instead of two. So normally we had a lot of stuff in there, and we get a lot of people, and it's a pretty active crime scene, basically. But this year, we're cutting back. We're not going to stream Hamvention Live this year. I've been streaming Hamvention Live for about 19 years now, and ever since I started doing it, I missed the Hamvention. I've been going to Hamvention for 39 years, and I used to like to walk around and look at stuff and buy old stuff and surplus junk and like that, but since I started webcasting, every single minute of my time was taken with the webcast, and many days we didn't even have time for lunch. Or we'd gobble down a hot dog or something in 3 minutes, and that was it.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Even with time to go and see everything, you
Yep.
still gobble down
Yeah.
lunch.
So we're going to have a booth. Our same spot, we've got one booth there. We're going to have one booth set up. Our banner will be up, and we'll have a couple things out. We'll have some business cards out. But we're going to walk around and enjoy it. We're going to visit everybody. I'm going to spend a lot of time outside. That's the part I like. I like the outside stuff and the inside stuff. And we're going to take video. We're going to actually take video of it, and we'll bring it back. And probably on the Tuesday night show, we'll just have a show about what we saw at Dayton. So I'm sorry, guys, but after 19 years, we're not going to have a live webcast. We're not going to have a lot of prizes, or not going to have any prizes to give out to viewers out there. And you know, we've had 1 year. What was that?
You have a tough time getting internet there?
We've always been able to get internet with various ways. A couple years I had
probably had one of those.
a couple years I had a VSAT satellite systems put in for 3 years, and then 1 year we paid AT&T. I think we had them put a circuit into our booth, and it was only $800, by the way, to have that put in for the weekend. But then Hamvention has put their own network now in all the buildings, and they have pretty good internet access, and you can actually pick up internet access from them really cheap. So that's also available. So again, no live stream from there this year. You know, we had 1 year we streamed the Dayton Hamvention, you know, for 5 days straight, and we had over 50,000 people came in and watched us. Not at the same time, but over a 5-day period, we had about 50,000 people that came and left, you know, to our website. Now we will be webcasting live the Huntsville Hamfest in August. We'll be there, and we'll be giving prizes, and Hambot will be with us, and we'll be giving prizes out there. But that's just a neat place for us. They really take care of us down at Huntsville, and great facility. Everything is just perfect for us. The hotel, everything. So it's real easy for us to do that trip. Plus, it's a lot closer than Dayton. Dayton's a 10-hour drive for us. And
Yeah, I decided to fly this year.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Ron. I see Ron in here. Gold medal. How you doing, Ron?
You're muted.
He's probably muted.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right.
I
Hey, are
had
you
muted because
what?
there was some noise here in the room.
Are you at a Hamfest right now? Where are you?
Actually, this background behind me
Yeah.
was Huntsville.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks kind of like,
Yeah.
it looks familiar. Yeah, okay. Well, I want to tell you, Ron, and we thank you. Ron and Amy have always donated some great ham radio hats that we give out as prizes. And Ron, we're going to hit you up again this year when we go to Huntsville.
Oh, sure.
But yeah,
Huntsville's one that I really look forward to every year.
Yeah.
I've got to say that anybody who considers running a ham fest, any club that considers running a ham fest, can go take lessons from the people who run the Huntsville show.
Yeah. Well, it's just a great place, man. I love the hotel arrangements. It's connected to the center. You don't even have to go outside. In the weather and the heat and the rain, or we just roll our equipment across a little hallway into the civic center there, and we're good to go, man.
Yeah, no, I love Huntsville. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we got to think of another fun project. We've done, using a tree for an antenna. We've done that on here before. That was kind of cool.
Well, I got something here for you.
What do you got?
Well, you did that. What is it? The SGU 237?
SGC 237?
SGC 237?
Yeah.
Well, I found this. It's a kit.
Yep.
And it's got a little organic LED, and this is a $22 automatic antenna tuner.
Right. And it's probably rated? It's probably 100 watt, I guess.
100 watts.
Yep.
And the hardest part of it is you got to wind your own toroids, which takes all of a half hour.
I'm building one now.
Yeah. This is sweet. I ordered the case for it just yesterday, so this is going to go into a case. I'm probably going to be.
It's very similar, maybe the same. The one I've built, remember the other day, and I also ordered the case which arrived today, so I have to.
Cool.
I forgot it.
Cool.
Yes. And it works really fine. It's sometimes. It's not that it gets a bit crazy, but it doesn't find a solution with the same setup you have. So, for example, you have the same antenna and the same trans frequency and everything, and for some reason, it doesn't find the solution. And
it is fussy on the power input. It's got to be over 5 watts in.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Hey guys, I forgot to tell everybody we're now into the after the show. So the other show ended. Amateur Radio Roundtable, our ham radio show, basically ended. And we're now in the after the show. Remember that, after the show. It's still part of the Amateur Radio Roundtable, but we had some people in the past complain that the show was too long. So they were getting tired of the show. So we just ended the show after the first hour, and now we have the after the show. So
you need to do that in your old Ed Sullivan voice.
Yeah. Let's see.
Really great show.
It's really great show. The after the show. I don't know.
Very few people are going to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
You should also try getting the band together for the after the show.
After the show, we get the band
together.
You go. Yeah. We really need to get the band together. I tell you what, in Huntsville this year, I want to get the band back together in Huntsville this year. And let's see. I don't know. I thought I had the band here. Maybe not.
Hey, Glenn, just one more word about the tuner. I've ordered the case. The last for the decision of buying the case was because I was going to build one myself, but then I saw the case was it was cheaper buying the case and separate than the tuner, than the whole thing together.
Exactly.
But the case brings another display, OLED display, so I will have an extra display to do something else, another
Well,
project.
now you got to buy an Arduino to use on the display.
Yeah, sure.
Then you got to buy my book to use the.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So that little free OLED's going to cost you about $100.
Yeah, just another project. If I have more projects that days of my life. But
that's the way it starts. Look at Tom and the balloons. It started that way.
as well.
So, hey guys, it just reminded me of something. I got it right here. I just ran across them the other day. Let me get them. All right, I have to bring these to. I have to bring them to Huntsville, but we're talking about getting the band back together, guys. And let me show you what we got here. We actually have. Here's our Soul Man album right here. This is our Soul Man album right here. It's on CD. It's on CD. This is only $2.99. It's been marked down to $2.99. But you can see this was the Soul Man cover right here of our CD. And then look, we got another with our second CD, which I think is much better. Bad to the Bone. We had Bad to the Bone right here. So this one right here, this one sells for $19.95 if you want. You want the Amateur Radio Roundtable Band, Bad to the Bone, 1995, right there. That's the background of Huntsville. And then we got this features Soul Man right here. Let me see. I'll give you a little hint of Soul Man here. Let's see if I can do that. Here we go. Here we go. All right, that's probably enough of that right now. But that was a couple previous years. That was our I don't know. That might have been 2015. One of them was 2014. But we'll try to get the band back together. Hey, Ron, maybe you want to join us this year. You know, when you get there.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So
there's my a cappella group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Oh, that's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want me involved. I'll be the ones that gets the dogs howling.
Well, on the
that must sound really good. That right?
well, you like it?
No, the a cappella group.
Oh, that. I thought maybe you like. I thought I was fixing to give you a good deal on one of the CDs here, man.
I was looking at it on Spotify, but I cannot find it.
I'll tell you, the only thing is, if you get the video version of this on Soul Man, at the end of the song, they actually threw a chicken at us. At the end of the video, you'll see a bunch of water bottles coming at us, and a chicken was thrown at us. Let's see if I can find a chicken here.
There's a guy I went to high school with who made a whole career of having chickens thrown at him.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna.
He shows up on TV under the name Svengoolie.
Okay.
Gosh.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. I want you to see what kind of how the crowd acted at the end of our Soul Man. Okay. Let me get it back in now. If you're gonna have to watch close because the bottles come fast and the chicken comes fast. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Soul Man.
There came the chicken.
We're on a mission from God.
That was so cool.
All right. All right. What's everybody else doing?
People, I'm leaving. It's too late here, so.
What are you doing?
See
Charlie?
you next Tuesday.
What
See
are
you
you
next
doing?
week.
Ciao.
Okay, see you next week.
Bye bye.
Anthony, jump on in. Speak up. Join us if you're not afraid.
Actually,
I'm not. I was the one that brought up about the band.
Yeah, he was the one who requested the band.
Hey,
reason
Tom,
I'm
you know,
usually
the
not
other
here
band
on
you should
Tuesday.
try getting involved with, maybe the Possum Band in North Carolina to see if they want to attend Huntsville.
The the three possums. We can get the possums there. In fact, he's wanting to come to Dayton. If I need to get him to bring the three possums there, and let's see. A little fun.
You know, if I remember correctly, Katie and them do karaoke up at Dayton.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we're gonna have to get get some recordings of them.
All right, well, here we go. Here's 2 of the 3 dead possums on my front porch over in North Carolina. Let's see if I can play this right here real quick. Give you. This is one of my North Carolina visits. And let's see. Got another one here. Let's see. I think I got another song they did. Oh, here's where we opened the show, actually. Let's see. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and this is the Amateur Radio Roundtable. And today is July 24th, and we're coming to you from the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. We welcome everybody, and we're going to open a show with 2 of the 3 dead possums. All right, well, that was my friend there, Jeff Powell. He's a ham radio operator over there. I met him through ham radio. In fact, he actually won a prize at Dayton one year, and Kathy asked him, well, where do you live? Where's your address? He said Tuckasegee, North Carolina. And we said, Tuckasegee? We've got a home in Tuckasegee. And we looked, and he's probably no more than 1,000 meters away across a little mountain. That's where he is. He's that close to us. And he actually won a prize a few years ago, and that's how I met him. And since then, I've even given a presentation to their ham radio club. They've got a nice ham radio club over in Tuckasegee, and I had quite a few members there, and gave them all a little gift. You know those little Harbor Freight meters, Glenn?
Yeah.
I took about 20 of those over there, and I gave every one of them a Harbor Freight meter, man, at the meeting. And
But those are really nice little meters.
They're good.
They've got capacitance checking and all of that. So I mean, they're very powerful for cheap little meters.
In fact, did you know there's a mod on one of those? You can open it up, and you can put a little diode in there, a little germanium diode in there, and you can put a BNC connector on top. And you can actually turn that into a field strength meter with
cool.
With about 2 or 3 parts. You can turn it into a field strength meter where you can put a little whip antenna on there, and you can just
Yeah, I've got
use it like that.
One in both of my cars. That's my troubleshooting voltmeter if I ever need it.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom?
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you, I figured out why my chat wouldn't work.
Okay. I bet it was something simple.
VPN.
Okay, yep. So you're running a VPN there. Yeah.
My VPN was running, and I just turned my VPN off. And
yeah. And when I asked you, you're running any kind of firewall, I didn't think about that. But yeah, I put a VPN on here, and there are a couple sites that VPN keeps me from going to. Yeah.
Well, in the context of SDRs, it's pretty nice to have a VPN because sometimes they time out.
Yeah. Well, you may not know this, Robert, but you know what swatting is, don't you? You've heard the term swatting?
Did you spell that?
Swatting. That's where somebody calls the police and they send a SWAT team into your house,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, this show was swatted 2 years ago. This show was swatted 2 years ago, and I didn't know it. The SWAT team came, and the doorbell rang. I was already starting the show, so my wife answers the door. I don't know who's out there, and I'm thinking, well, it's probably a neighbor or somebody or whatever. So about 10 minutes into the show, I didn't know none of this was going on, but the police actually had got a swatting call where supposedly someone at this number shot Katie Allen in the face with a 12-gauge shotgun. There's a picture of Katie right there. That shot Katie with it, and for them to come in and get me. So anyway, I'm here doing a show. I'm doing a show, and I didn't know it, but the SWAT team are talking to my wife, and they finally grab her and they take her outside. No shoes on. This is February. No shoes on. She had to walk in the cold out there, and they put her in the back of a police car. So I don't know any of this is going on. So I'm still doing the show, and she said when she got out there, she said there was 15 cars out there, police cars out there. The fire department was at the end of the street. They had the place sealed off. And while she was out there, believe it or not, one of the SWAT team shot the street light out. They shot my street light out. Now, I didn't hear any of this going on because I was doing the show. And then about 10 minutes later, I see some people coming down my hallway, and I'm looking, and they're all dressed in black, and they're kind of in single file, and I don't know, it's kind of walking funny. The guy behind had his hand on the guy's shoulder in front of him. They were kind of coming down my hallway here, and they stopped at the door, and I'm thinking, well, this is probably somebody that my wife has sent back here, to see the show. So I didn't think anything of it. And so anyway, I said, is that an M16 you've got there? And he didn't answer me, but he said, are you Tom? Can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. So I let Katie is out in Montana. Is it Montana? Yeah,
Wyoming.
Where? I mean, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
She's out in Wyoming. And her and Martin Jew from MFJ, they were all on here, and Rich from CQ Magazine. So I said, Katie, y'all go ahead with the show. I have to leave just for a second. So I went and talked to the police, but I didn't know it. I didn't realize it, but I had my wireless mic still on. So they were still hearing me talk. They could barely hear the police talk, but they didn't know what was going on. So we came back in the studio here, and he just wanted to make sure Katie was okay. And I had Katie on the big screen up here on the wall, and I said, Katie, say hi. And Katie says, hello, we're all fine out here. And so to make a long story short, we were running our own chat room, our own server, our own website, and we were able to pull statistics and IP addresses and stuff off all of that, provided it to the FBI, and the FBI actually, it took right at 2 years, but the FBI made an arrest, and they told me that there were 58 agencies in the United States looking for these people, and it just could not find them. And the information we were able to give them helped crack the case. So my agent from Memphis got to go all the way over to Wales and help bust the door down, and they arrested the guy. So that's kind of the story of our swatting incident. I didn't know any of that was going on outside. Didn't know. Oh well.
That was the first I'd ever heard of that kind of stuff happening.
Have you not? Have you heard the story before?
Yeah, I was
you've
there.
Heard it before, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was there when it happened, but I mean,
Yeah.
I had never heard the term swatting before.
Oh, okay.
I did
Well, there's not
know
that many.
people
There are not
were
that
doing
many.
crazy
There are
stuff.
not that many cases in the U.S. I think at that time there were like, I don't know. There may have been like 34 cases or something in the U.S. But a lot of the people, and what got me into the story, Robert, you talk about VPN. A lot of people that do this, get on the black web, they use VPN so they can't be traced. Well, Glenn works in IT, and I just retired from 34 years in IT, and let me tell you, you can trace. I don't care. There's ways to find out where this stuff comes from, and even though they thought they were clear, and see, they actually called the police department here using a phone line, a VPN over voice over IP through a VPN, and actually left the message or talked to them. But so it's more difficult to find somebody when they're on VPN for sure.
Yeah,
Especially if they're out of the country.
Yeah.
I don't really use it for security. I just I can get a new IP address from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
by just changing it. So it just
Yeah,
it's like,
and you know,
it's like a refresh.
yeah, a lot of people use the VPN. For instance, on the internet, if there's a major football game, it may be blacked out here in Memphis, but we can go into VPN and say, "Hey, I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Give me an IP there, and then I can watch the football game." You know, it's just amazing.
I won't say too much about that subject, except that I have an IPTV service and I can get everything.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Not very much money.
Yeah, I just use VPN for work, and that's on the other computer. So
Yeah, we just
I don't
loaded
do
it.
anything
We just loaded
crazy
it here
with
the other day. My wife just put it on some things, and actually she put it on my phone. So I've got it on my cell phone here right now, and I notice it's running all the time.
I mean, it's probably a good thing to have it these days because, I mean, the bad guys are getting bad. And,
Yeah,
you know, you're lucky they got an arrest out of that. I mean, literally, you know, most of the time they're like, oh, that's out of country, can't touch it, goodbye.
well, you know, and you know, people in Russia right now, they're getting just one side news. Everything else basically has been blacked out in Russia. No, Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, but they're using a VPN. They can use VPN and they can see stuff happening. Now, most people don't even know what VPN is, and you've got the majority, or you got a lot of people in Russia that live out in the country that, you know, all they see is their local television channel.
But yeah, I mean, if you're serious enough about it, you can track them and find them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you've got to have a lot of cooperation and a lot of things happen just right.
Right, right. Well, we couldn't talk about that for about over 2 years because
Yeah.
The FBI had a active investigation going. They were trying to get all these people, and you know, we're afraid if we discussed it much that it might mess up, you know, their I don't know, their investigation or whatever. So we were finally given permission that we could go ahead and talk about it because they finally closed in on everybody.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir.
It's Anthony. The gentleman that lives down the street from you when you guys go to North Carolina, has he gotten on the radio yet since you helped him with his antennas and his station and so forth?
The guy that lives down the street from me.
The gentleman that not in North Carolina, the gentleman that won.
Guy on the other side of the mountain.
Well, yeah, he's been
gentleman
on. Yeah, that hadn't been a problem. Now, one of the guys that I've always questioned, when are you going to get on? He's in the chat room right now. That's Mark P. But he finally got his license about 2 years ago, and he bought a radio from a friend here. And I actually built him an antenna and took it to him when I went to Dayton one year. And
I thought that was the same person. Okay.
And that may be who you're talking about. And he,
Right,
I gave him
that's
the
what I'm
antenna
talking
and everything, and it took him 1.5 years to even just get his antenna up. He just says he's so busy. But I don't know. I don't think he's. I think I talked to him once, but I don't think he's operating much. But I'll see him again. In fact, he's in a chat room every Tuesday night here. That's Mark P. Mark, if you're in here, are you making any contacts, Mark P? Am I going to have to come over there and turn that thing on and make a contact for you?
Yeah, he's in the chat room.
Yeah, a guest asked me, why did I get targeted to be swatted? He didn't understand. My understanding is what these guys do, they like to have fun. They think it's fun, but it gets people killed. There's been a number of people that the SWAT team went out and actually killed by accident. But they asked, why do people do it? They like to call SWAT out on anything that's live. For instance, there may be just a live cam that's on a fish tank, an aquarium, with fish swimming around. That's a live aquarium, and that's all it is. But if it's live, they like to try to get the SWAT team to, pull the doors down or break the windows out and come in, and they watch for them. They watch for them to come in, and just to see what kind of trouble they can cause.
So in other words, they're attention seekers.
Yes.
Yeah, attention seekers. That's what it is.
Well, they got attention, all right.
Well, I think it scared my wife more than me because
I meant them getting caught. They got attention getting caught.
I had no idea any of that was going on. My wife was dealing with it.
Yeah, no, I remember
she was
that.
dealing with it outside, and it was kind of funny after you think about it, but
at the time it was not funny. It was
Well, it would have really been exciting, guys, if we'd been right in the middle of the show. See, if my wife had not been here, we would not have answered the door.
Yep,
we would
then
not
they would have
answered the
busted
door.
it down.
So it's very possible I could have had some tear gas come through the window over here.
Yeah.
During the show,
It was also good that you actually had Katie on that night.
Well, yeah, it was good.
That helped.
Hey, Tom, I checked my email and I've got 3 new registrations already.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's good.
A little bit of interest.
Yeah, I like the 4-screen concept. That was kind of cool.
Well, I've used the SDRs before, and like Alan was talking about, they're a little difficult to use, actually. Each one it's just a little bit different, and you only do one at a time, and it's a little difficult, actually. And especially when I'm looking for when I'm looking for an SDR in a certain region, I almost can't find it. If I don't know the city or something, I have trouble searching for it. So I can see how this thing might have great advantages to maybe pull 4 of them up at a time in that area that you're wanting to hear from, and you can just pick from the best one. And with that audio mixer you got in there, you can just turn off the ones that are noisy, turn on the ones that sound good, and then when the other guy talks, you may have to turn that mixer off and turn one of the others on to get the best signal. So, I can see this as a neat service that you're trying to provide people. What it's doing is providing them an extra tool so they can use the SDRs out there much more efficiently and easily.
Yeah, and if something's not coming in on one SDR, you can just switch to a different one, try it out. Maybe I'm not getting up into the Northwest, but maybe my signal's going somewhere else, and you could try different ones.
Yeah.
Well, I found something fun.
What was that?
I'm cleaning out there's this desk. Well, you can't see it because I got a background up, but there's this old desk behind me that let me turn my background off. You can probably see it. There's this old wooden desk behind me.
Yeah.
And that's going to be cleaned out and moved out of here. So while digging through desk drawers to see if there's anything of value in any of them, I found this. This is a brand new unopened box.
Oh, man. Oh.
Brand new unopened box.
Yeah.
Of 3 1/4 inch.
Save those. I bet you could probably get someday. You'll be able to get some money for those. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, so it's 1.4 meg per disc. The entire contents of this box is 14 meg.
Yeah.
Right here is 128 gig.
Yeah, that's nothing, man. You can get that in a terabyte, man.
I was going to say, so here's 128 gig.
Well,
Here's
But I'll tell you, back many years ago, Microsoft. What's the guy's name? Microsoft. Don't forget his name.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. He said something like, "The most memory anybody will ever need will be like what? What did he say, Glenn?"
Well, actually, it turns out he never did really say that, but
really?
the quote was 640K is all you ever need.
640K. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because that's 10 times, 64K.
But they could never attribute it. He never did officially say that.
Yeah.
Guys,
They could never find the official quote.
a terabyte used to take up a whole building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I know. I started in this business working on disk drives that were the size of washing machines, that the disk platters held a whopping 2.5 meg, and the heads on the disk drive are moved by hydraulic fluid.
Oh, yeah. My wife worked for DEC.
Yeah, I work for CDC.
Okay.
Yeah.
The old punch card era, the early disk drive era,
I'll tell you, man, I never could figure out those punch cards. I don't see how you can get much of anything on a punch card.
Yeah, 80 columns worth of EBCDIC. You can get a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So each card was the equivalent of a line of code. God help you if you ever drop the box. Which I did many a time. Fortunately, I was hardware and other people did the software. But I had to make sure the card punch and card reader were working.
The worst thing I ever dropped was a box of resistors that were sorted by color code. And I had to do sort. Yeah. Learn the code real fast.
Yeah, no, that's going to take a while. The thing I liked about the card punches and the key punch machines was when you emptied out the chads, you had built-in confetti. And, so I was the guy who had the confetti at all the sporting events.
All right, let me make a quick announcement here. We're about to end our time on shortwave. Just want to say thank you to all of our shortwave listeners out there on 7490 WBCQ. Glad to have you. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And thanks for joining us here. And if any of you guys in the chat room haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I'm gonna take your name down on this piece of paper right here, and I'm gonna call your name out next week. So hit that subscribe button and stay out of trouble. 73 to everybody out there. Thanks for listening and watching the show tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, guys. Well,
some guy in the chat room is asking.
That'll be the end of our. That's the end of our audio 2-hour show on shortwave.
Yeah. But he was asking how many 3.5-inch discs for a Windows 10 install? A house full.
Yeah.
There's probably several thousand or 1,000 discs.
I think Windows 10 now, I think they tell you if you use a thumb drive that if you want to put it on that, I think they recommend like a 16 gig or something.
Something on that order, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So how many meg go into 16 gig?
Well,
a lot.
I don't know. Is it? I'd have to get a calculator out. Yeah.
If a gig is 1,000 meg, then it's
that'd be about right.
How many discs could it be?
About 1,000.
1,000 discs? Oh boy.
Well, see, I remember back having to install Windows 3, and it was like 26 discs. way back in the day. The cool thing about Windows 3 was it didn't have this registry junk. If it blew up, you could actually just copy the files from a different directory and
because
right back
all
up.
the INI files and everything else were in the folder with the program.
Yeah, the registry to me was the biggest mistake they ever made. I don't understand it.
Well, I think they wanted to make it more difficult to move programs from one computer to the other.
Because I really loved, because I used one for work, and so files would get corrupted all the time, and it's just like I just copy my backup directory in, and I'm good.
So let me ask a question. I know a lot of people are getting pushed to go to Windows 11. I haven't done it, but is Is Microsoft going to a subscription? Are they going to start charging each year for Windows? Seemed like I
I
heard
think
that.
they were going to try, and they
Seemed like
kind
I
of dropped
heard that
that
somewhere.
philosophy for now.
I was just wondering if Windows 11
I
was
know.
going to be a yearly subscription or something.
I know this machine that I'm on now. It's a 2014 vintage laptop. It's an i5. It does. I got a solid state drive in here. I got a 16 gig of RAM in it, and I can sit here and I can be on a Zoom call, and I can have my email open,
Yeah.
and I can be running FT8 on my ham rig, and I can be doing a dozen things, and it works absolutely perfectly. And I go and do the Windows 11 upgrade checker, and it says, nope, the processor's too old. We're not going to support it.
I have that exact same problem on my laptop. And I'm like, fine, I'll stay at 10, and I'm running 7 on everything else.
So
I had to go do my taxes on my lab computer because TurboTax won't run on anything under Windows 8 now. So I've got my lab is on 2010, and my laptop's on Windows 10, but everything else I'm running Windows 7. The heck with you. Now my work machine, I think that's still Windows 10.
Yeah. Well, my lab doesn't own a computer.
Believe me, I didn't want to do taxes this year. The good news is I get to buy more toys. The bad news is I lost all my hair doing the taxes.
Kathy
What
always
little I had
does.
left.
Kathy has been always doing our taxes each year. She says she hates it. She says, remind her next year not to do them.
Yeah.
By the way, I found 2 other things in a drawer with those discs.
Oh, Lord.
I found 2 name badges. One is this. Every Hamfest vendor needs one of these.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's one of my favorites.
And this, which was ordered by an XYL.
Somebody gave me the badge in Jackson, and then a friend duplicated it, and it says, hi, I can't remember my name either. Yeah, I like that. That don't sell my husband anything.
But did you see that you like the icon on it?
Yeah, no boat anchors. Love it.
I think one of my favorite things was at the Peoria, Illinois Hamfest a few years ago. I was just walking back to my booth from the bathroom or whatever it was, and this announcement comes over the PA. Whoever left a boat anchor at the Roan Tower booth, please come and pick it up.
Yeah.
Now, Roan doesn't do very many Hamfests, but it was Peoria, Illinois, so, they do that one. And I'm walking back to my own booth, and I'm thinking, oh, there's Roan right there. I think I'm going to walk 2 steps out of my way and see what kind of boat anchor somebody left at the booth. Well, what they left there wasn't a radio. It was an actual boat anchor.
Boat anchor. Yeah.
That was the thing I liked about Dayton at Hera. You never knew what you were going to see out in that parking lot.
There was one thing I saw one year. I wish I'd bought it, and it was like a 25-foot missile. It was standing up across from us out there. That would have been so cool to have a 25-foot missile. I'd have stuck it up my neighbor's yard over there. I'd have put some dry ice in the tail where it was smoking a little bit, and when he woke up the next morning, see that missile out there? Maybe I should stick it in my own
I don't
yard.
remember what year that was, but I remember seeing that out
Did you see that out there? Yeah.
I remember seeing it out
Do you
I
remember the
that
year?
There was a guy there with an air cannon. It was literally built like a cannon.
Oh, hey, Ron, do you remember there's a guy that brought a big old truck out there one year. It was full of guns, rifles. Do you remember that?
No, that might have been one of the years. Though, I've been going to Dayton since 1973.
Okay.
And I've been doing the vendor thing.
Yeah.
With the hats since about 2006. But there were a few not very many, but there were a few years that I missed when the kids were really little, and it was just difficult to get away.
They finally made this guy leave. He must have had 500 rifles inside the back of that truck that he was selling. They made him leave. I tell you, you'll find anything there. We found an autopsy table out there one year, the stainless steel table.
Oh, one year we got there. Well, if you remember, I had that spot in the eating area. At one end of there was the big long room that had the food concessions at one end, and then all the picnic tables in it, and then at the other end of the room along the wall is where we were set up. And we got that space in about 2011. We got that space because we're moving in. So it's Thursday, it's, vendor setup day. And we're moving in, and I'm walking back out to the truck with an empty push cart, and I pass my son on the way in with a full one. And I'm out there and pull it, just loading the cart up, and my cell phone rings. I yank it out of my pocket. It's my son. He says, "Dad, you better get in here right away." So I go running inside. I just stuck the cart back in the truck and ran inside. And there's my son standing in a puddle cleaning the ceiling tile out of his hair.
Oh, gosh.
The ceiling completely fell in on our...
Oh, Lord.
And they didn't have any place else to put us.
Well,
except that spot.
Now, one year they actually had tents inside the building. I think that was over. That was over maybe in the yellow.
That was the same year because it was leaking all over the place.
Okay,
that was before my time.
They put the like these outdoor canopies up over some of the booths.
Yeah, vendors were actually putting tents up inside the building.
And that was the year they moved us to the kitchen because the whole ceiling just caved in over our old spot.
Well, there's been some fun times there. I remember when the sewer outside exploded.
Yeah,
that was the year before I started going.
That was an interesting when the sewer exploded outside in the flea market area. That made a lot of people mad.
Yeah, like Jed Clampett, up through the ground come a bubbling crude. And you don't get much crude.
The ground started bubbling, man. The ground started bubbling.
In the chat room, talking about that he saw a box of replacement knee hardware in a cardboard box.
Oh, really?
I mean, good grief.
Well,
hopefully it wasn't used hardware.
Well, one year we came in there, and in our booth space, there's a big old, we couldn't set up because there's this big old forklift. This is at Hera, big old forklift parked there, and the thing is dripping oil all over the place.
Oh, Lord.
So after they moved it, we had to do all kinds of mopping up.
Yeah.
Another time we came in there, and I think it was maybe the last year that they were at Hera, we came in, and there's an animal trap in our booth space.
Oh, yeah.
Plated with half a chicken.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I'll tell you,
Wait a minute. Half a chicken? What were they fishing for?
I have no idea, but it was this animal trap was probably this big.
Let me tell you, you might wonder why, inside, this is at Hera now, inside the fenced area in the flea market, we used to have the toilets or the Johnny on the spots, inside the fenced area. But do you know why they moved them outside the fence area? I tell you, what happened was right there at the back door of Hare Arena, there was a big hot dog stand right there, and there was an outhouse right next to it, and the thing turned over. It turned over right there next to the hot dog stand. So I think every year after that, they put it outside the fence. So you had to actually walk outside the perimeter to go to the bathroom.
Now, to be honest, I went to Hera about 2 or 3 times before they moved to Xenia, and I tell you what, yes, Xenia without air conditioning that first year was hot and muggy, but I thought the Xenia facility was just so much nicer, easier to work with, and I enjoyed Xenia a lot better than I did trying to figure my way around inside of Hera.
Well, when I first started going there, when I was probably a college student, I think my first year was maybe 1972 or 1973. Harrow was really nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I liked
What
I liked
happened is
Tara.
the owners died, and the family got to feuding with each other about what should happen to it and whether they should sell it or whether they should keep it. And I think they were probably investing the absolute minimum amount of money they had to put into the place to keep it from being condemned.
Well, I liked Tara. We'd already been going here 30 years, and I was so familiar with it. And yeah, I didn't care that the ceiling tiles were falling in. It didn't bother me, as long as they weren't falling on us. And it was nice. We knew our way around, and we had fun there. I never really complained about the buildings or anything.
But see, for
the
me,
last
for
couple of
Xenia,
years, it really got pretty gross.
it was bad.
Yeah, I guess it did.
And the food court at Xenia, let's face it, you can't beat the food that they've got at Xenia compared to the cardboard they had at Hera.
Yeah, it's better.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely better.
But I think the flea market was better at Hera, other than the fact that parking lot was like walking on the moon.
So that same year of the poop flood, some guy comes up to us at the end of the Ham Fest and says he wants 20 hats for his band that he plays in. Wants 20 hats for his band. And I said, well, I can't do it. It's the end of the fest. I probably don't even have 20 all the same, and there's no way I can run them now. He says, no, I take an order and send them to me after the show and all that. So Amy pulls out her order pad and says, okay, where should we send them? And he says, well, you send them here. And she's like, oh, you live in Dayton. Okay, can I have the address? And he says, well, you send them here. And now at this point, you remember those TV commercials where the one guy speaks and the whole world stops and he's listening?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the whole world went silent.
E.F. Hutton.
And then he says, wait, the Hera Arena? And he says, yeah, I work in the basement.
Huh.
And I'm thinking, wait, are you telling me this place has a basement?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Wait a minute, the poop is this deep on the first floor. I don't even want to know what's in the basement.
Oh, Lord. No, I never knew that place had a basement. Never thought about it.
I can't even imagine
Oh, my God.
the basement of the Hera Arena.
Holy. Oh. No. Good grief.
All right, guys, it is 10:15. I need to get me some dinner or popcorn, one or the other. I think we'll go ahead and close the show down, and gonna go to bed early tonight. Keep my fingers crossed and hope the balloon shows up and starts transmitting tomorrow. If not,
I think it will.
I
think
don't. You know, Glenn, I've got mixed feelings about it, and the reason I think it could is because 2 days prior we had terrible transmissions.
Well, there were
times we wasn't getting anything. So I'm thinking, okay, if that happened 2 days prior, and we got nothing at all today, maybe it's the same problem, and maybe tomorrow, it'll start back. Maybe an
it seemed
antenna
to be
fell
just
off.
going so good.
I don't know, but I don't know.
It was going so good, and you've had several blackouts. I think the thing, what was it, yesterday, that it didn't start up until late. Maybe you've got an issue with, the solar cells are twisting or something in the wrong way and not getting a lot of light. But I don't think it's down.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good night to everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.
See y'all next week.